Lechem. My name is Natan Hayyim, and I'm filling in for Rav Dror today. Big zchut. It's a bit ironic because I speak better English than Spanish. Nevertheless, I give most of my shiurim in Spanish. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the work that we did in South America. Baruch Hashem, spent a week over there. Had a chance to meet some wonderful people and really touch their hearts. People that are going through a lot of situations like you can't imagine, and nothing more beautiful than to go and to see these people come in, like we say in Hebrew, we say memumar. They come in like, down, and they walk out with smiles and hope in their lives. So leat, we quoted one of their famous quotes that we said was from kavod, where we said that there's a lot of work to be done, and the time is short. Nevertheless, the balabait is willing to pay for the reward. We're doing it just to rescue his children. There's many people out there, good nefashot, very good people, and anything you can do to strengthen them is very big in Hashem's eyes. So spent 3 days in Colombia with our friend Ariel over there. Touched many lives. Then went to Guatemala for a day. The very next day in the morning went to Mexico. Went to Mexico City, then to this other place called Puebla. It's like to the east of Mexico, I believe. And we were late 3 hours because after the Mexico event, where we had the event in the it's a museum now. It's been a museum for about 30 years. So we did an event there. About 150 people were present. And then afterwards, we had time to speak to whoever wanted to speak. So that was about 6 hours, just people coming in and listening. Baruch Hashem, we were able to inspire. One of the most touching stories I had there was a gentleman that he had some kind of mental issue. He wasn't all, something, I don't know. The mom didn't really tell me exactly what it was, but he was diagnosed with some kind of mental thing. And she didn't know what to do because he would disrespect her a lot. And she asked for advice as to what to do. He's already 27 years old. And I asked her to bring him in when she brought him in. I asked him, why did he speak, this way to his mother? So he put his head down, and I really immediately noticed that Tochacha is not the way to approach this gentleman. So I sat next to him, I gave him a hug, and I just told him that, he came to this world to fix this, to fix the way he speaks to his mother. That's his sole thing. And he really felt that, he really felt that he could do it. He walked out of there with hope that he was going to work on that. And he said that he tried, but no matter what, like he's overcome by his anger to speak negatively. His father left him when he was born, and it was just him and his mom. His grandfather can't help out, and he was very broken. But Baruch Hashem, he came out there smiling, and he said that he would try. I go, don't do it for me, do it for yourself, and do it for your mom. That was beautiful. That was one of the most touching stories I saw there. But Hashem did great things. A lot of people there that they came out with a lot of chizuk. There's still much work to be done. One of the themes that we talked about was the difference between the people who are fanatics, fans. They sit in the stands, and they say you should run. Imagine you're in a football game, and some fan is saying he should have run this way. Why did he do this? But he's not the one waking up at 5 a.m, working out, doing the whole thing, the whole season long. He's not sweating on the field. So it's very easy to say and criticize from outside, but if you're not in the field, then it's a different story, a whole different ballgame when you're in the field. Same thing goes with us, in Ruchniut, when we're going out there to help souls. our motto should not be to criticize what other people are doing to bring those souls. Rather, get your gear on, put on your uniform, and go out there and battle for Hashem. Hashem will help you succeed. So, Baruch Hashem, that we have a lot more work to do. This is just setting up the seeds. And I understand that Rav Dror is going to go out there end of February, March, around that time. Also to Bogota. He's going to go to Colombia. And hopefully we'll be able to do more for the people of South America. God willing. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you guys about one of the lessons that I talked to the people in South America about, which is a very, very famous lesson. It's called Aye. It's in Likutei Moran Part 2, Lesson 12, where Rabbeinu talks about the importance of elevating yourself from the low places. Even when a person seems like he's fallen to a place where Hashem can't be found. And the way I showed it was, Rabbeinu talks here about 9 different mamarot, the 9 different sayings, and Hashem said it's actually 10 sayings, but Chazal said, wait, we only found 9. There's not 10, there's 9. So where is the 10th? The 10th is a hidden one. It's in Bereshit, the word Bereshit. So I spoke to them about the importance of finding Hashem in the obvious. For example, I have a friend that, Baruch Hashem, he had a few days ago, he had a medical exam done, and the report came back not so positive. Right? He was very down, and I gave him chizuk because he thought the doctors told him you're not going to live past 40. Imagine, So I said, look, Rabbeinu says that the doctors, to a certain degree, are the angels of death. Right? They give negative reports, and sometimes they don't always get it right. Don't worry, Hashem brought you to this world to raise a family. You have beautiful children. You have a wife, and you spend a lot of time with them. You do a lot of good. Don't listen to what the doctors say. You keep your simcha, and you're going to see things are going to turn around for the better. So a few days ago, he gets the news that the person who they gave him the report was not him. It was another guy. Had the same name. And it was some 65-year-old guy. I said, well, good thing he didn't live past 40, I said, right? They got that completely wrong. Right? They said he would never live past 40, and the guy's 60-something, So he had tears of joy in his eyes, and he was very happy. And I told him, you see, God forbid, you could have gotten, fall into a deep depression just for listening to the words of the doctors, as if it's absolute truth, Hashem is the one who's in control of the world. And I told him, don't think this is not a miracle. It's not a coincidence that they mixed up the names. It's not. You can't just assume that it's not a miracle. That in itself, it's a miracle. It's a more revealed miracle because there's a lot of miracles that are hidden. Everything comes from Hashem, right? So here in these 9 mamarot that are very open, it's very obvious. But there's also a hidden mamar, a hidden saying, where Hashem is somehow, you don't find him there. So Rabbeinu begins the lesson saying, when a person, when a person goes after his own seichel, his own wisdoms, he can fall into many grave errors, and God forbid. And he comes to do much evil, has v'shalom, as we see with many people who did a lot of things that are inappropriate, thinking it was the right thing to do, And they not only that, but they led other people astray. So Rabbeinu gives us the key to living our lives in Yiddishkeit, to live Yahadut, Judaism, in truth. And it is Ve'ikar Yahadut Urak Lelech V'Tmimut Pshitut. The essence of Judaism is to live your life with simplicity and Pshitut. I guess it's like another synonym for and complete, being complete. Shitut is more simplicity, and mimut is more like being complete. Very, very simple. Not trying to look at pseudo wisdoms or trying to think of. I remember once I spoke to Maharash now about Seder Limud, and he just said, "Why don't you just read the book? Just read. Stop trying to calculate how many pages, and just read. Just read the book. You'll finish it." But stop trying to calculate, I'm going to read 10 pages a day, and then this, I'm going to finish it in 2 months, and then at the end, you don't do anything. You spend more time calculating than actually reading. Just read the book. Then he says, להסתכל בכל דבר שעושה, the person should look at everything that he does, שיהיה שם השם יתברך, that Hashem be found there. לבלי להשגיח כלל על כל כבוד עצמו. And he should not look at his own kavod. Before I went on this trip, Rav Dror sent me a message saying we need to nullify ourselves to Hashem. You don't exist. I don't exist. None of us exist. It's only Hashem. When a person does like this, then it's impossible that Hashem's kavod is going to be, taken to the ground. His name's going to be netzach, true triumph. רק אם יש בזה כבוד השם יתברך יעשה, ואם לא לאו, a person should only look at if Hashem's honor is going to be made great with this, then he should do it. And if not. ואזי בוודאי לא ייכשל לעולם. And in this way, he will surely not fail. He will not have any success. He will for sure have success. And even if he does fall, into doubts, yesh, sheniflato gdola meod meod, because there is a possibility that a person can fall to great falls. Rahman Hashem, may Hashem have mercy. A person falls into very great doubts of Hashem. One of the ways I showed this was, for example, a person says, okay, I have a worker, I have 10 workers in my office or whatever it is, and I have the money to pay them, but I'm going to pay them next week. I just make up an excuse and I'll pay them next week. No, this is not Hashem's honor, so don't do it. Same thing with a worker. A worker works 38 hours, but he knows he will work 40, and okay, that's also not correct to do. That's not gonna include, Hashem's honor. That happens all the time. When a person goes to Yerushalayim, for example, and he has to pay for parking. I'll just park here for an hour. I won't pay for parking, and hopefully I'll get away with it. No, is that gonna increase Hashem's honor? No. If they were to bring the press and say, look, this is a God-fearing Jew, and he's stealing $1 or an hour's worth of parking from the city. That's not right to do, so don't do it. Not only the Mishnah tells us to be God-fearing in private as you are in public. So you shouldn't be doing things that are not going to increase Hashem's honor. Everything we do should be to increase Hashem's honor. How much more so to help other people that are far from Hashem? Can you actually be far from Hashem? It's just an illusion. It's not really true. It seems to them like they're far from Hashem because they fall into this level of lack of emunah in a way where Hashem seems to be hidden. But you cannot be far from infinity. It's impossible to be far from infinity. It's no such thing. The same thing happens when you can't see Hashem. When in the situation where you're at, if you see Hashem's help, that is an obvious one of the 9 amarot, the 9 levels of obvious things. But when you find yourself in a situation where Hashem appears not to be there, it sounds like He's not there. You're looking for, how could it be that I'm having this situation, whatever it is. Like, for example, my friend that I told you guys that the doctors gave him this erroneous diagnosis. However, he didn't know that at the time. So how could this be from Hashem? How could this be for the good? You may ask yourself. It's very easy to say it afterwards when you see the salvation of Hashem. But there's a reason why Rav Natan talks in Likutei Alahot, I believe in the laws of Mincha, why before any time there's light in the world, there has to be tzimtzum. It's just the way it is. The halal panui, he calls it. I think it's halacha 4, where he talks about the halal panui, the vacant space. And you find that Hashem apparently isn't in that vacant space. You can't see Him. Don't go into those places and try to find Hashem there. You can't. You have to rely on emunah, on faith, only on faith. And we see that in Likutei Moharan number 1, where Rabbeinu talks about the intellect, how the light of the sun, it's like the intellect, and the light of the moon is like the faith. And he says that you have to look at Hashem every single thing and find Hashem even in that place, even in those things. Hashem can surely be found there. However, because the light of the or is so bright, right? It's impossible to find it. It's possible to see that, except for Iyashar Lizkot Elav. It's important. It's impossible to merit it. Ki im al yedei b'chinat nun, except for the through the concept of nun, which corresponds to Malchut, which he talks about is the moon, and which we know is Emunah. There's going to be places, there's going to be situations when a person is going to be found in that situation, and he cannot find Hashem in there. When we fall in those places, that's where our Emunah comes. And we have to increase our Emunah. Because through increasing our Emunah, we can come out and see the light. It's very important. He talks about that, like, that's why we don't say Mincha, we don't say the Kriyat Shema, we only say it in Shachrit and Arvit. He says the reason why is because the Halal al-Ponui, this power of Fikut, of doubts, of Kfirah, of heresies and stuff, is so powerful that a person cannot rely on Emunah. Even Emunah is, it's on the Kriyat Shema, it has to do with Emunah, but it also includes Mochim, it also has intellect in it. So that's why in Mincha we just pray. You have to just rely on prayer. This is so important. So many people in this world, they go through life and they don't really understand the power of prayer and how prayer can help a person come out of their darkness. And for sure, Rav Natan says, this time is so small, this time where there's constriction between the sun fading away and the light in the night beginning, is so strict, and this is where the deen is such strongest. When a person relies on their prayer, for sure, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I remember once I went for these tunnels in Yerushalayim. They have, I think it's City of David or something. They have these tunnels where the water goes up to like between your ankles and your, right? Something like, yeah. And so I went with my family, like my family and my sister's family. And she forgot to tell me one little detail. What's the detail? That for someone who's like 6'2", like me, these tunnels are very small. So I had to go with my son, and I strapped him to the front because they don't let you strap him to the back. And for about 45 minutes, I'm like leaning down, I'm thinking I'm going to kill my sister. I'm going to kill my sister, right? Very, very, very difficult for me. My back was hurting, plus claustrophobia. There's no way, there's only one way out, forward. There's no way back. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm thinking, how did I get through that dark Mitzrayim? Because that was Mitzrayim. That was dark, tunnel, water, freezing water, almost up to your knees. You can't let that little boy down, right? You have people behind you and people in front of you. There's no other way except forward. That's how many people's lives needs to be understood. Yes, you will get through that dark tunnel, my friend. You have to keep going. And you have people depending on you. There's many more people depending on you than you think. If you stop, everybody behind you can't continue. They cannot continue. If you fall, the person that's hanging on to you cannot continue. The only way is forward. You will see the light. You just got to keep going. Keep believing there's a light. It's going to end. It's going to end. And eventually it will. What happens now after you got out? You don't remember the last 45 minutes. Okay, it's over. This was like a year ago. Okay, who cares? You don't feel it anymore. How did I get through it, specifically me? I sang my way the whole way. There's some songs that just kept in my mind and just kept singing. Keep the smile on your face. Keep singing, because that dark tunnel will come out. You will come out of that dark tunnel. This is a story I shared with people in South America, at least. I'm sure in North America as well, but South America, the people there are very spiritually broken. And it takes a lot, But if you're willing to go down into the trenches, get out from the stands, from the bleachers, and go down and help the people on the field, Hashem will give us a reward. So this is what Rabbeinu tells us here in this lesson. When a person he nullifies his own will, and he goes looking for Hashem's kavod, there you will find him. It is precisely there. And even if you fall to the places where, like doubts and stuff, where Hashem is apparently not there, there's still a way out. How do we get out? in order to get out of the situation where you're in, you need to ask yourself, Aye. The question is, Aye. Like, where is Hashem in this place? Where is Hashem? In Rabbeinu's story of the Lost Princess, the viceroy asks himself, where am I in the world? You need to start asking Aye, like, where am I in the world? What am I doing with my life? Is this really worth it? What I'm about to do? There was this child, he's not really a child, he's like 16-year-old, and he was telling me that he likes music, he likes secular music. So I told him, is there a stupidity more greater than this? You're going out there paying $10, $15 for a CD. You're making this guy rich. He's driving around in limousines and Bentleys and all these cars. And you're listening to this music that's not going to benefit you in any way. Is this going to get you any closer to Hashem? No. Then why are you doing it? You could have bought a sefer for that. For $15, you could have gotten yourself a really good book. There's no reason to be making other people rich, and it's not going to benefit you. It only hurts you. And this music comes out of style. The sefer you're reading today, you'll read it and it'll give you life for the rest of your life. You know, buy a sefer Torah, buy some kind of book of Torah, and learn this book. Me, 13, 14 years ago, I made tshuva on a book, a $15 book, and I still have this book to this day. I still read it. This is an amazing book. What would I have done with it? If that person would have given me a CD of some, I don't know, rap music or something, some secular music, it wouldn't have gotten me closer to Hashem. There's no way. So there's better ways to invest our time and our money helping other people. And Rabbeinu finally says that when a person starts asking, Aye, where are you, Hashem? Where am I in the world? What is it? What am I doing with my life? Is this really the best use of my time? That's how a person starts to come out, because that saying Aye mekom kavodo, this is what we say in Musaf. You're supposed to concentrate when you're saying this in the Kedusha of Musaf. If you read carefully, most of the Rim, they'll tell you that this is where you add a neshama yetera. You add more chizuk to yourself. You have an extra neshama that comes to help you. When a person asks himself this question, this is when he begins to come out of that hole, that spiritual darkness where he's at. Why? Because this word Aye, we saw it in last week's parsha, where Yitzhak Avinu, they're going with Avram Avinu, they're going to Har Moriah, and Yitzhak notices there's something missing. Something's not right with this situation. We have here the wood, we have the fire, but where's the aseh? Where's this lamb for the olah? So he asks, Aye aseh leolah. So Rabbeinu says this is a play on words, because the word Aye, where, aseh leolah, leolah means to go up, to elevation. When a person asks, where is Hashem? That's exactly when you start coming out of the darkness. So we see that, when a person starts to ask himself, what am I doing with my life? Anywhere, even now, we're not talking about just a first time a person does tshuva. Every day we need to do tshuva. What did I do with my life today? Where was Hashem in my life? How did I find Him? Where did I elevate Hashem's glory? Because again, we have to nullify ourselves. It's not about us. It's about Hashem. What did I do for the Hashem today? Okay, great. I put on tefillin. I put on tzitzit. I daven with a minyan. I learned Torah. But what did I do for Hashem's glory in addition to all that? This is stuff that I have to do every day. But what extra thing did I do? Did I help one more person? Did I give one more person chizuk? How did I do so? It's as simple as I tell people on the fan page that I have. I tell people, listen, giving a little share or a like, it takes a click. It's 1 second, and it can change a person's life. I literally saw like 4 or 5 people who came to the event in Colombia just because they were looking for Judaism, they were looking for Hashem, and somebody shared it with them. They just shared it on their page. They put share, and this person happened to be looking at their Facebook right then and there, and they saw, wow, there's going to be an event. Here comes somebody from Israel. I want to go to this event. And as simple as that, 4 or 5 people came, and it changed their life. The shooting that we had like 6 hours worth of shooting and stuff like that. So that's how we can elevate Hashem's glory, and come to a place where le'at you start elevating yourself. Another point that I spoke was the importance of making sure to invest your time as best as possible. How? One of the things is the rule of 72. Anybody who knows about finance, this rule of 72 where you double. Let's say you have 8% income. You're making an investment at 8%. So in 9 years per year, in 9 years, you should be at about double that money. So 8 times 9 is 72. So you have this rule. It's called the Rule of 72. Very, very famous rule for people who are involved in finance and stuff. So I told the people, I gave them, this is called like a, it's called like a hachlata. How do you say that? Like a decision, like a decision. Almost like a dare, more like a dare. Like, hey, I challenge you. I challenge you to do like a challenge. I challenge them to look, try to improve your life and be better 1% per month, just 1% more per month. In 6 years, it's 72 months. You'll be double who you were before. It's so simple. How do you, okay, so I read one chapter of Tehillim, so read one chapter and one word next month. Now do one chapter and one word. Increase yourself 1%. Make yourself a better person. If you pray 10 minutes, then pray 10 minutes and 15 seconds next month. And in time, in 72 months, in 6 years, you'll be double who you were before. And then in 12 years, you'll be quadruple what you were because you just doubled what you were before. 18 years, you'll be 8 times more like this. You double yourself. You'll be amazed what you could do in 18 years. But what happens? The Yetzer Hara fools a person and makes him think, well, 18 years, it's so far away. Or 3 years, I can never go that far. That's so far in the future. Somebody who signed, I gave the example of somebody signing up for enrolling for college. They tell him, okay, it's a 3-year program for what you want to study. He sees that 3 years so distant. So I asked him, what did you do 3 years ago? Where were you 3 years ago? Okay, do you want to be in that same situation in 3 years from now? Because 3 years ago went by so quick. It's like, oh, I remember what I was doing. It's like, wow, it flew by. Look, my son was born 3 years ago, and now we just cut his hair. 3 years flew by. I can't believe it. Well, the 3 years from 3 years ago and 3 years going forward is the same time. It's just that the Yetzer Hara makes us think that it's so distant in the future. There's so much things to do. You know, next thing you know, 5, 10 years pass by a person's life, and he's wasted it. So that's not. We don't want to have any regrets when we go forward. We don't want to look back and say, "Oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that better." That's why we do it. We do it every day. We ask Hashem. We do a cheshbon nefesh. We ask Hashem, what do we do with an accounting of our time? You don't want to have an accountant that's not in a company and he's looking at the books once every 10 years or once a year. He should be looking at the books daily, if not weekly. Rabbeinu gives us the advice to do it on a daily basis. When a person does like this, he gives an accounting, he could be fresh. He could be fresh on what his expenses were, what his debts are, what his earnings were, and then he can make a decision on how his day was, and strengthen himself for the next day. Where was Hashem in today's day? Where was Hashem in my life? What in my actions? And if Hashem's glory was elevated in that action, good. I'm going to repeat that tomorrow. I'm going to repeat what I've done. You know, anything that increased Hashem's glory. And if it didn't increase Hashem's glory, then I'm going to get away with it. That's one of the themes that I talked about. Again, it was an amazing lesson. It was a seed that we planted, and with Hashem's will, we'll be able to go back into other countries of South America and make even more of an impact and not only North America, Canada, you know, the United States, but also South America is needed. I was told there's approximately 17 million anusim in Brazil alone. In Brazil alone, and every day that number dwindles because they intermarry and they keep intermarrying. 17 million, and so I took upon myself the task. God willing, I'm going to start learning Portuguese. It's very easy. I've already started. Very, very easy because it's similar to Spanish. So like just change the accent on a couple of words and you pretty much speaking Portuguese. So Portuguese, Brazil has not been forgotten. And leat, you know, we're going to do great things. We're going to increase Hashem's kavod. The key is if what you're doing increases Hashem's honor, then do it. So what we're doing here is waking up souls, you know, from their 70-year slumber. Like Rabbeinu says, is it possible for a person to sleep 70 years? And the answer is yes. Spiritually speaking, there are people that are sleeping 70 years. So our job is to wake them up, and that's what that's what we've been doing. That's what we're continuing to do. That increases Hashem's kavod, and we for sure will be successful, because Rabbeinu says, "Bevadai," a person who does this for sure will succeed. May Hashem continue to help us to spread the light of Emunah in the world, Hashem's love for every single person, and in that way we should see the Geula Shlema. Amen.